Hey, welcome everyone to Wizards Outlook. We're joined tonight by Raymond Lyons, Cardell Dudley Jr., Wilson Tarpe Jr., and the Washington Wizards have finally ended their grueling 7-game, I think 13-day road trip. Unfortunately, they fell to the Jazz tonight, 128 to 112, which means they ended the road trip under 500. Definitely some positive movements on the road trip, and as we saw as it progressed, more and more minutes for younger and younger players. That said, Ray, we'll start with you tonight. We saw Kyle Filipowski, Keontae George go to work in this one as the Jazz got past the Wizards. I said earlier, 128, 112.
Um, yeah, the Wizards, they came out strong. They were in control for about the first 8 minutes of the game, but after that, it was all Utah for the most part. Yeah, Colin Sexton, he started off on one. He really kept the Jazz in it early once the Wizards got off to their hot start, and they were able to weather that storm because of Sexton's because his quick start. But other than that, you really didn't do much, but it was enough just to kind of keep them in the game and kind of keep them settled to avoid things getting ugly early. But yeah, man, we saw Filipowski have another effective game. 8 for 11 from the field, 21 points, 4 boards, 2 assists. And yeah, Keontae George off the bench. They it's always seems to be one person during every game that the Wizards just simply can't do anything about. And he looked to be that guy this game, outside of Sexton in the first few minutes. But yeah, man, it Wizards just didn't from getting penetration. Like in the last game a couple of weeks ago, Collier just kind of got going downhill and then made decisions off that when the Wizards reacted. So yeah, they got to get better defensively at the point of attack. Um, but yeah, man, like you said, just it's good to see some young guys for the Wizards. Continue to get experience. Saw a lot of Kobe Jones and Jalen Martin tonight, and they produced with the opportunities they were given. Jordan Poole's got to be better. 1 for 11. That pretty much speaks for itself, man. He They shouldn't have to rely on they can't only win games when Marcus Smart and Chris Middleton play a lot. I mean that's just what it comes down to, man. And in those games, Poole, he's one of the older guys. He was brought here to be one of the leaders. He's got to step up in those moments. Yeah, you shouldn't be blending in with the young guys when you're out there with them. And tonight he wasn't even blending in. He just didn't contribute. So that's a little disappointing to see. But yeah, man, the youngins continue to grow. Alex Sarr, he started off very strong, 20 points in the first half. I wasn't able to really contribute in the second half, but you know, the you know, a little bit as the game went on. And, but yeah, it just for the most part, Jazz just controlled the game. They were able to kind of close to a win.
Cardell, you take on this one.
Yeah, I forget who told me. An OG scout told me that the end of a road trip, the absolute last game, you automatically just pencil that in as a L every time, and that's just like a known thing across the league. It's a loss. It's a loss. If we win it, great, but they just expect that to be a loss because they expect most teams are ready to come home. Being on a long road trip, and that's the kind of energy you saw on tonight. Yeah, they started out. The Wizards started out the game hot, 18-7 lead. But then slowly the Jazz walked them down, and they walked them down from that point on. Even though the Wizards won the first first quarter, 35-31, but they walked them down and kept it going for the remainder of the game simply because they were the more physical team, just all around. The guard play, the guards were more physical, and inside they were more physical. And, you just saw the Wizards kind of like, after the Jazz withstood that first punch and they kept coming, the Wizards was like, yeah, man, we ain't got it. Like, you could just see the energy, and them just like, yeah, we ready to go home, bro. And that's part of the process with these youngers of learning how to win these type of games. You know what I mean? Just you got to be mentally tough enough and mentally locked in to, you gave them a punch, they came back with a punch. All right, let's get ourselves together and be able to sustain for the rest of the game and get this W. And they just weren't able to do that, man. Just to give up 90, to give up over 90 points over the last three quarters. I mean, it's just, they scored 31 the first and on the first quarter. Like, it's just ridiculous. Like, your defense was non-existent. That's why I said the Jazz were just more physical. Your defense was non-existent throughout the game. It's just that in the first quarter, their defense wasn't there at the beginning. But once they locked in, I mean, they kept the Wizards at bay. And Ray brought up Colin Sexton. He just, 18, 7, 8. And that's not even nothing he's known for, being an efficient scorer. Like, he could put points up, but he could be a streaky shooter. 7 to 8, that's just no resistance whatsoever. And he did that in 19 minutes. You see what I'm saying? Because guess what? The underlying thing in this game, that both teams are kind of fighting for the same thing. We get the number one pick. You know what I'm saying? So they not really putting too much effort to try to win it. They just going to let things go how they go. With the Wizards, you obviously you will hope that they will come in not thinking that, okay, this is kind of easy win or something like that. You kind of get that across the league from teams that haven't accomplished much themselves and think that, look, we can walk in here and get this W, because at times it did look like that, especially when they got off to that strong start. So we will hope that isn't the case, and it shouldn't be, because y'all both in the same boat. You know what I mean? So regardless, nothing is guaranteed with your draft selection. So with that being said, play to win, because you have to build up momentum going into next season and show that you have the understanding how to win, especially on the road, especially at the end of a road trip. You know what I mean? They've been on the road a long time. I get it. But this is the situation every team goes through. You got to show that you're making strides in that area for winning. Tonight, it was kind of disheartening in that area. Filipowski, he's slowly getting on that list as one of the Wizard killers. The one that he see the Wizards, he just go to work. The second time, and he's just a rookie too. He's done work. Keontae George did work off the bench. Sensabaugh, he had a good game here in DC. Same thing. Did work. Jordan Clarkson, he's a vet, known for scoring. I expect him to do work, but it's just no excuse just to be out physical like that, especially when they don't even have all their horses playing. And you have the majority of yours outside of Middleton and Kisper and Rashawn Holmes. Just more things to look at. Utah won a rebound on battle 42-37. That's pretty close, but still, you should have won that. Bench points, Utah 64-53. Normally, that's where the Wizards, that's their edge and their X factor in most games. Tonight, they got outplayed. And then the assists, the assists 30 on 50 made field goals that you allowed. That means the ball was moving and they got the type of shots that they wanted. They shot 56% from the field, 40% from deep. It's just, like I said, it just was no resistance whatsoever, man. So they're just ready to come home. That's what you kind of saw tonight. Hopefully they can rebound, because the next game, I believe, is against Orlando, and Orlando is fighting for playoff positioning, so they're going to be hungry. And this is the reason why you have to win these type of games, because when you look further up in the schedule, you got killers coming. You know what I mean? And these losses can start to pile up once again. And what have we been saying the entire time? We want to see strides for the youngest as far as beginning to understand how to win games, especially when Middleton and Smart don't play. I know Smart had an off game, but I'm gonna give him some grace because most of the season he didn't even play. So in a sense, this is like the beginning of the year for him. Just getting his legs under him. So eventually he was gonna crash, especially with the style of play that he has, man. But this wasn't a real good showing at all, man. And then Jordan Poole, come on, man, you too good to go 1 for 11. This is the stuff that make people just just shake their head. You 1 for 11, but you're going to, and nine of your misses are threes. Why? You see what I'm saying? It's just a lot of head scratching performances tonight, man. That kind of goes to what I started the show with. They were ready to come home, and they still got some learning to do.
Your words have never been spoken by that OG scout that shared that with you. Big, ready to go home energy in this one. I thought you got some positives from some folks, but they didn't play that much. And I'm not even gonna get on the Pool thing. There's no excuse for that type of performance. I don't care what's going on. The kids don't even give you that type of performance. Like, the kids have had struggles, and even then we can be like, all right, they're rookies, but they do something else. It was nothing. That, like, literally, that's just not okay. Jordan Clarkson in a similar situation. There's a bunch of kids in Utah too, and he doesn't even have the role that you have in for your team that he has for his. Still showed up and did his job. But yeah, look, man, they look like they're ready to come home. But like you said, they're coming home, and bro, you're back to back. As soon as you get back to back is Orlando, New York. So the physicality meter is only about to tick up several more notches after this game. I thought it was good, in terms of silver linings. Like, I thought it was good to see some of the other youngsters like Kobe Jones, hell of a performance tonight. In terms of taking advantage of his opportunity. For Washington, Jalen Martin was okay tonight, but I wasn't. What's it called? Vooch was okay. Vukovic was okay on offense. Defensively, just like Alex has to go get stronger, you got to figure something out on that end. So, at least with Alex is getting stronger, that whole side of the floor has to be addressed for you. Going forward, just being completely honest. What you bring offensively, I don't really have an issue. What you do is what you do, and that's cool. But tonight, we saw the stark contrast because of whatever was going on roster-wise. You started two bigs, they started two bigs. You weren't able to be on the floor to defend either one of them. You struggled with that tonight. No year two or whatnot, but that's something that has to be addressed. Stars continuing to shoot the hell out the ball from deep throughout this, this since the Denver game and what have you. But yeah, man, it can't be like this. And then you have Utah where, like you said, Carter, yeah, two teams fight for the same thing. Utah just snapped a 10-game losing streak. Like, they both out here trying to do the same thing in different ways, or get the same desired result in different ways. This win for Utah snapped the 10-game losing streak. Washington came into this one 3-3 on this road trip. Yeah, like you said, the rest of the way, we're getting closer to that, 10, 12 games left. We're getting closer and closer to that little, to that marker, and you got nothing but playoff teams. They have all the incentive to come in, put you away, and go and get some rest before it's go time. Because some people in the playoffs already took care of their business. Other people, you got to go get your seating. But as always, I pass it along to you guys for player of the game.
Yeah, for me, it's Colin Sexton. He set the tone with his scoring to kind of will the Jazz back into it, and then everybody else follow suit, and that's how they're able to make a run for it. And you can easily say Collier too. Man, when you're starting backcourt shoot 14 to 18 from the field, they're just come on now. When they combine to shoot 14 to 18, I'm not even gonna bring up the numbers on the other side. Come on, man. But yeah, Colin Sexton for me.
Right.
Yeah, I go with Sexton just because his flurry at the beginning of the game pretty much saved the game for Utah. Like Cardell pointed out, the Wizards, they came out and threw the first punch. But once the Jazz was able to respond, that was pretty much Sexton. I think he made his first 7 shots. Once that, they were able to, kind of regain their composure, and it was on from there. But yeah, man, he pretty much single-handedly saved the game for them in the first few minutes.
All right, X factor for y'all.
Man, Filipowski, man. It's hard to ignore what he did inside. 21 4 2 on 8 of 11. See, that's what's disheartening. And he was 4-6 from deep, though. Like, you see what I'm saying? That's what's disheartening. And he did it in 21 minutes. It ain't like he played like 40 minutes. It was spread out. It was a short burst. I went to work. Let's get this game over with, man. It is. Yeah, and by the way, those two bigs, Nemeth Kessler, they both weigh 245 plus. Sarah Voot, 225. End of a road trip. You got to deal with some physical bigs. They just ain't got it, though. They physical. They got a lot of work to do in the offseason to get strong.
Yeah, that's an understatement. And for both, they both bring, it's not a skill thing. It's the other thing that people seem to ignore. You need the other stuff. You have to have it. Otherwise, skill stuff is great. But what happens when you deal with the skill stuff with the other stuff? It's a long night. It's a very, very long night. Ray, X Factor?
We'll go Filipowski and Collier. Filipowski, man, we already know what that's about from their last game. And Collier is just his ability to be just disruptive and explosive. Like the Wizards, they just couldn't stay in front of him. And yeah, man, and that led to him just kind of wreaking havoc.
Yeah, another thing, they got to find a way to take better care of the ball. We keep saying that this almost after each and every game. I think the first half they had 10 turnovers in the first half. Like you said, there was a couple. It was one of the, I think the most annoying things was there a couple times they turned the ball over. And Cardell, you just talked about the size of Utah's bigs. They were moving down court for fast break points. Moving.
They got to. They got to keep up with Collier. Collier on one-man fast break. That's a fast dude. So if he get the ball, and Colin, he like to play that pace too. So, yeah, I mean, if you want the ball, you better run.
Oh, man. All right, y'all. They come home Friday to take on the Orlando Magic. And the back-to-back is in New York. That's the Square Garden. The night after that. So see you guys twice in the next couple of days. Appreciate y'all as always for tuning in.